Exercise number 4 for Political Science 560. Now in this exercise we're going to be pulling some information from Google Drive that I've already stored up there for you, and it's information around the Guilford County Commissioners. We're going to take a look at Map Window so that you can understand how the application is organized and where the different commands are and things of this nature. We're going to be exploring the data so you can see what types of attributes we have about county commissioners. We're also going to be going into a process where we'll symbolize that. Now, in our case, we're going to be symbolizing it by gender. Now, for your assignment, the one that you're going to submit to me at the end of this exercise, you're going to be symbolizing it based on party affiliation, but the steps are going to be very similar. And then finally, we're going to output the cartographic piece of this. We're going to be organizing the layout of our document, and then finally creating the PDF file. Now, we're going to try to keep this reasonably simple. We're going to take and organize this into 3 parts. So this is part 1 of the exercise, where we'll download the data and we'll explore it. Part 2, we'll take a look at how we're going to symbolize it, and then finally in part 3, we'll handle the cartographic component of the assignment. So let's go ahead and we'll get started with the download of the data from Google Drive. Now, before we do anything else, you might want to think about where you're going to put this data that you're downloading from Google Drive. Now, in my case, I decided to create a folder on my C drive on my computer for this entire class, and under that is a folder for exercises and also a folder for data. You may choose to do that same thing with your C drive. You could keep it and make a copy of the information from Google Drive and simply copy it into your area of Google Drive and keep it all in the cloud. It won't matter which approach you take. The important thing is that you remember where you copy the data. So let's go ahead and let's get started. When you install Google Drive, you would have ended up or should have ended up with a shortcut on your desktop for Google Drive. If you still have that, that's great. You can double click it and that will launch. If you've lost that shortcut, you can also get to Google Drive over here on this tray. There's a menu pick for Google Drive there as well. Let's go ahead and I'm going to launch mine from the shortcut. And you'll notice, let's get this positioned nicely, you'll notice that now there's a folder out here for 560 data sets. So let's go ahead and double click on that. And this is what makes up a shapefile. Remember in class we talked about shapefile and how it's kind of misnamed because you think there's a single file, but really a shapefile is a collection of multiple files. And you have to have all of them if you're going to make it work. So we're going to go ahead and select all these files. We're going to right click and we're going to copy. Now, in my case, I decided I was going to be storing the shapefiles to my local C drive, and I created a folder out there called Political Science 560. And under it, I have 2 additional folders, one for data sets and one for lab exercises. I'm going to go ahead and put this under data sets. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. Great. So now we've successfully downloaded a shapefile from Google Drive and got it to a place where we can start doing some work on it. Let's go ahead and minimize this. We don't care about that anymore. When you installed Map Window, you should have also gotten a shortcut for Map Window on your desktop. If not, you can pick Start, Programs, and there's a folder here, and Map Windows can be launched there as well. Let's go back and we'll launch mine for the shortcut. You get a splash screen. Let's go ahead and close that. Now, before we start loading data, let's talk a little bit about how the Map Windows program is organized. First of all, you have a menu bar across the top. And one of the important buttons here is Project. In Map Window lingo, a project is any time you're using the product to organize and doing analysis on data. So I want you to think about the project basically as a collection of data layers and all the tools that you'll be using. And once you're working with the data, you're going to be able to save these projects and then reopen them and pull all the data back in again and continue your analysis. There's also a menu pick for layer, which lets us do adding layers and removing layers and things of that nature. You notice there's a number of menu picks here which are grayed out. They're going to be grayed out until we actually add some data. Then they'll light up so we can do some things with it. Plugins. This is an important piece of any kind of open source software. Now, there's a consortium of people who write the core map window product, but then there's another whole group of people who write what we refer to as plugins, and they basically are writing code that provides some additional value to the basic map window product. And so today we're not going to be using any of the plugins, but I wanted to show you where you find plugins. Sadly, Google changed the way they handle their geocoding. In this piece of map window, at least as of March, it was not working. And so we're going to be doing our geocoding through another method. Hopefully that gets fixed one day. Underneath the menu bars, or menu picks, there's a toolbar, and the toolbar lets you do several things. For example, we can open up a project, we can add data to a project, and again, a number of these are grayed out because we don't have any data in our map yet or in our project yet. Finally, there's another toolbar down here for the navigation tools. This will let us zoom in and out, once again grayed out until we actually can add some data. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and add some data. So we're going to go to the toolbar for add data. And we're going to go to GIS, our data sets, and Guilford County Commission. So a couple things have happened in Map Window. First of all, now that we've added some data, all these toolbars items have lit up for us. Also, you have the map display, which is showing us the actual map data itself. So it shows us each one of the polygons and their boundaries. We also have over in this side of the screen, we have something we refer to as a legend. The legend contains a listing of all the different data layers which are in your project. Now in our case, we only have one data layer called Guilford Commission, but if we had additional data layers, they would show up in this legend as well. The legend also determines the order in which items are drawn. And so since things are drawn in layers, it's important sometimes to be able to sequence the order in which they appear on the screen so that things don't cover one another up. So basically then that's what the application looks like. Let's go ahead and start exploring some of the data. And there's a couple of ways to do that. A very common way to do that is something referred to as the Identify button. Let's go ahead and click on the Identify tool. You notice a window pops up here, and it has a list of all the different fields which are in this particular shapefile. So let's click on one of the districts. This is district number 3. You notice that once I click in this district and clicked on this polygon, this window has now opened up or displayed to us that the commissioner name, the name of the school board, county school board member who represents this district, the fact that Linda Shaw is a Republican and her gender is female. Let's go ahead and click on another one. Again, same Identify button, simply clicking somewhere else. Here's a district for Alan Branson, a Republican male, things of this nature. So this is pretty straightforward. The Identify button works great if you just want to look at one particular district. But if you recall, not only is a GIS shapefile a view of polygons, but it's also got attributes in the form of a table underneath the polygons. So let's go ahead and click on the table button. And you'll notice, let's go ahead and reposition this for a minute. You notice now I have this grid that is displaying all the information about all the polygons. And so if I decide to light up, we'll pick the select button here for a second. If I pick the select button, click on a district, you'll notice that the district polygon lights up as well as the table record. So this is district number 3 for Linda Shaw. By the same token, if I was to click on the table for record district number 4, the record lights up in the table, and also the polygon lights up on the map. So as you can see, the table records are closely tied to the individual polygons, and that is really at the heart of all kinds of GIS. We're going to go ahead and pick the deselect button. That will go ahead and clear these, and then we'll go ahead and close this table. So, navigation. We don't want to forget that. So our navigation toolbar is lit up, and these navigation tools are the same thing that you'll see all the time. You've worked with these in Google Maps and things of this nature. You have a button for zoom in, You have a button for zoom out. You also have something referred to as the full extent. When you click on it, it zooms automatically so you can see the entire map. You also have a button here for previous, and what previous does is it takes you to the map extent. It takes you to the view you had just prior to this one. So when we click this, we'll zoom in. Click it again, we'll zoom in even further. By the same token, the next button zooms us out one click, zooms us out another click. So the previous and the next buttons work together to basically allow you to navigate back and forth to previous settings that you had. So that's pretty much it for the first part of this exercise. We have gone to Google Drive, we've pulled down a shapefile, we've launched Map Window, have a chance to get familiar with the way the application is laid out, and explored some data. So in part 2, we're going to explore the data a little bit more, and we're going to symbolize it based on gender.